Most of us have a moment we can point to, a moment when someone close to us did something that broke our framework for understanding the world. Maybe it was a friend who used your secrets as currency. Maybe it was a parent who chose someone else. Maybe it was a partner who betrayed you when you were most vulnerable. In that moment, everything you believed about trust, about loyalty, about love itself, all of it shattered. You're left asking a question that haunts: why did the people I trusted hurt me? This is the story of a man who asked that question and then spent the rest of his life learning the answer. His name was Joseph. Joseph was 17 when his story began. He was the favorite son, the child of his father's second marriage, born when Jacob had finally found love again after years of grief. This made Joseph visible. It made him beloved. It also made him a target. His brothers watched him. They watched their father give him a coat more beautiful than theirs. They watched him receive inheritance promises they didn't receive. They watched him walk through their camp like he already owned it. But Joseph wasn't arrogant. He was just young. He had dreams at night, prophetic, wild dreams, and he made the mistake of telling his brothers about them. In his dreams, the sun and moon and 11 stars bowed down to him. He told his family, his father, everyone. He wasn't bragging. He was just sharing the strange things his sleeping mind showed him. He didn't understand yet that some people experience your favor as their injustice. His brothers hated him for it. This is where most betrayal stories begin, not with a criminal act, but with a growing resentment that turns into opportunity. His brothers weren't planning to destroy him. Not yet. But they were watching for their moment. It came on an ordinary day. Joseph's father sent him to check on his brothers who were tending the flocks in Dothan. It was the kind of errand a favorite son runs for a father. A small task, a sign of trust. But when his brothers saw him coming, that famous coat visible from far away, something in them broke. The resentment that had been building like pressure finally erupted. They threw him into a pit. The pit is important. It wasn't a clean execution. It wasn't a quick murder. It was a choice to bury him alive, to listen to him beg, to feel the weight of his fear. They sat down to eat while their youngest brother screamed in a hole below them. This is the cruelty of betrayal by family. They know exactly where to strike. They know exactly how much you trust them. They know exactly how much their actions will destroy you, and they do it anyway. But before they could complete the murder, traders passed by heading to Egypt. One of the brothers, Judah, realized they could sell him, make money from their betrayal. A 17-year-old boy became merchandise. His own family haggled over his price. Imagine that moment of realization, realizing that people who held you as a baby, who taught you to walk, who shared meals with you, that they had decided your life was worth less than silver. They told their father that a wild animal had killed Joseph. They showed him the bloody coat. Jacob's grief was complete and absolute. He would not be comforted. He believed his favorite son was dead, murdered, gone, and Joseph was on a boat to Egypt, owned by someone he'd never met, heading toward slavery. The slavery part matters. In Egypt, Joseph was sold to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh. He could have been worked to death in the fields. Instead, something remarkable happened. Joseph was competent. He was intelligent. He carried himself with a dignity that caught attention. Potiphar noticed him, and within time, Joseph wasn't just a slave. He was managing Potiphar's entire household. This is the first glimpse of the pattern we'll see throughout his life. Joseph has a gift. Whatever he touches succeeds. Wherever he is placed, he rises. But this gift doesn't protect him. It doesn't save him. It only makes him more visible. Potiphar's wife noticed him too. Not as a servant, as a man. She wanted him. He refused her, repeatedly, firmly. And then she did what scorned people have always done. She lied. She told her husband that Joseph had tried to assault her. She used his own integrity against him, the fact that he would run from her, that he would resist, that he would choose honor over desire. She weaponized his virtue and called it a crime. Joseph went to prison. Think about the pattern now. His brothers betrayed him for existing. Potiphar's wife betrayed him for refusing her. He's being punished for being chosen in one place and for not choosing in another. The message becomes consistent. You are marked. Something about you draws harm. In prison, Joseph could have broken. Many people do. They reach a point where the world has hurt them so many times, in so many ways. by people they trusted and people they resisted, they decide the universe is fundamentally hostile to their existence. They decide they deserve what happens to them. Joseph didn't. Instead, he interpreted dreams for fellow prisoners. He remembered people who forgot him. He served people while imprisoned. Even in the pit and the slavery and the prison, he was the kind of person who served. The kind who showed up. The kind who didn't harden into bitterness. For years, he was in prison. But then a cupbearer, someone Joseph had once helped, someone he'd spoken kindly to, remembered him. Pharaoh was having dreams no one could interpret. The cupbearer mentioned Joseph. At 30 years old, Joseph stood before the most powerful man in the world, a man he'd never met, in a country that had enslaved him. And Pharaoh asked, "Can you tell me what my dreams mean?" Joseph could have said no, could have refused, could have protected himself the way betrayal teaches you to do. But he didn't. He interpreted Pharaoh's dreams. He warned him of coming famine. He proposed a solution. Pharaoh made him vizier. Second only to the Pharaoh himself, the slave became the ruler. The boy who was thrown into a pit became a man who ruled a nation. This is the moment most people want. This is the vindication. This is when the person who hurt you realizes they were wrong. This is when you're proven right. But Joseph's story doesn't end there. During the famine, people came from everywhere for food. Egypt had grain because Joseph had prepared. Nations that would have starved because Joseph understood Pharaoh's dreams. His own family came too. His brothers came, desperate, hungry, not knowing who the Egyptian ruler was. Joseph recognized them immediately. Think about that moment. Your brothers, the ones who sold you, the ones who told your father you were dead, the ones who took your coat and your life and your future, and they appear before you, begging for mercy, not knowing they're asking mercy from the person they destroyed. Joseph could have destroyed them. He could have said, "Do you remember me? Do you remember the pit? Do you remember the price you haggled over?" He could have let them starve. He could have enslaved them. He could have made them experience every moment they had made him experience. But he didn't. Instead, he tested them. He kept them in suspense. And then, when he could no longer hold it back, he revealed himself. He wept so loudly that Pharaoh heard it in his own house. "I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt." His brothers were terrified. They were certain he would execute them. But Joseph said something that contains the entire redemption of his betrayal. You meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. He didn't say the evil wasn't real. He didn't say the pain didn't matter. He didn't forgive them because they deserved it or because they asked for it. He forgave them because he had become the kind of man who could. His wound had not destroyed him. It had shaped him. The rejection had refined him. The betrayal had taught him something his brothers would spend the rest of their lives learning. That sometimes the people you hurt are stronger than you know. That sometimes the person you destroy goes on to save you. That sometimes the one you abandoned is the only one who will feed you when you're starving. This is the question Joseph finally answered. Why did the people I trusted hurt me? They hurt him because they were broken people, making broken choices. Because they couldn't see who he was going to become. Because they were envious and small and human. But more than that, God used their betrayal. Not that God made them betray Joseph. Not that the evil was actually good. But that God took the worst thing that happened to Joseph and wove it into the best thing he became. God took the pit and made it a preparation. God took the slavery and made it training. God took the false accusation and made it a test of character. God took the prison and made it a classroom. Joseph's wound became his weapon, not because the wound was good, but because Joseph allowed it to be transformed. He didn't harden into bitterness. He didn't decide his worth depended on his circumstances. He didn't demand that the world justify itself to him. He became someone who could forgive. And that's what makes this story yours too. Because you also have a wound. You also have a moment when someone close to you proved the world was not as safe as you'd believed. You also have a question. Why did the people I trusted hurt me? And maybe, just maybe, the answer isn't that you deserved it. Maybe the answer isn't that you were foolish to trust. Maybe the answer is that you're standing at the beginning of a story you don't understand yet. That there's a purpose being woven through your pain that you can't see from inside it. That your wound, as real as it is, could become your greatest teacher. That the people who hurt you might one day need exactly what their betrayal taught you, mercy. And that when that moment comes, you might be the kind of person who can give it.